Hi, this is Miss Hadi from Olympian High School. I want to teach you a little bit about how Islam makes its way into India, South Asia, from Southwest Asia. So we had just finished learning about Northern India and King Harsha, and now we're picking up with slide 9 in the lecture and with page 408 in the textbook, the Introduction of Islam to Northern India. So basically there's going to be three ways that Islam comes to India. The conquest of the Sind through the Umayyad, and then later it's going to fall into the hands of the Abbasid dynasty, so through conquest. Then through merchants, which is more gradual, and through Turkish migrants and conquerors like Mahmud of Ghazni. So let's learn about these three ways really quickly. So the Arabs conquered the Sind, which is the northwestern part of India, after some exploratory ventures where they went and checked it out, and then they conquer it under the Umayyads. But of course, the Umayyads then get defeated by the Abbasids. You learned about that banquet where Abu al-Abbas killed many of the Umayyads after supposedly inviting them to reconcile. And so then the Sind is technically under the authority of the Abbasids, but not really. And the reason for that is because it was on the fringes or distant and far away from the actual Abbasid dynasty. And so it was very hard to control that region. And eventually, a lot of its population, which many of them continue to be Hindu or Buddhist or Parsi, they're going to start to believe in not traditional Islamic movements, heterodox population that has these different religious beliefs. So technically, in name, nominally, they're under the jurisdiction or authority of the caliphs until the Abbasids are defeated by the Mongols in 1258. But in reality, they're basically not as in control of this region as they say they are. The second way that Islam comes to India is through merchants. Now, there were Arab merchants here way before any of those Arab merchants were Muslim. And then obviously after Muhammad, many of the Arab merchants convert to Islam and they bring their new faith with them to India. Muslim merchants operated in many of the port cities in India. They often married local women, and by the year 1000, there was a thriving Muslim population in northern India in an area called Gujarat. And of course, in the port city of Cambay, which is the most important trading city in India. Please write that down so that you know that. So there were Arabs trading here before the Arabs were Muslim, and then, of course, after the Arabs convert mostly to Islam, that's going to be another way that they bring their religion to South Asia or India. The last way is through Turkish migrants and conquerors. So during the 10th century, which is the 900s, several Turkish groups knew about Islam because they were settling on just on the outskirts of the Abbasid dynasty, the Abbasid Caliphate, and they start to convert to Islam. And some of them become mercenaries in the Abbasid army. And then, as you know, many Turkish groups start attacking the Byzantine Empire. You know about the Seljuks attacking the Byzantine Empire in the Battle of Manzikert, or they start attacking later on the Abbasids themselves. So you have the Seljuk Turks, the Ottoman Turks, all these other Turkish groups. So know that the Turkish groups are part of a larger historical context of Turkish people influencing more areas. So one group of Turkish people that you need to know about were Mahmud of Ghazni and his successors, who came from an area that you think of today as Afghanistan. Between 1001 and 1027 CE, they start to raid into India, about 17 different expeditions attacking temples that had a lot of wealth in them. And to add insult to injury, after they attack these temples, they're going to build mosques on top of them, which doesn't endear them to the local populace. Mahmud, of course, is the Turkish way to say the word Muhammad. So anyway, this is one way that Islam reaches India. It's also something that has a secondary effect of encouraging the decline of Buddhism in the land of its birth. Now, the successors of Mahmud of Ghazni, the people who come after him, are going to build a state, a Muslim state, known as the Sultanate of Delhi, that rules from 1206 to 1526. That said, it's not a very stable empire. It's ruling over a mostly Hindu population. 19 of the 35 sultans of Delhi are assassinated, but this is a Muslim state that rules northern India, at least superficially. It rules northern India. Next, we'll turn our attention to the Hindu kingdoms of southern India.